I think every business in private aviation had a challenging time over the last couple of years. I've been with NetJets 8 years, so I've seen lots of different cycles of business. I think we were very lucky to be a part of the Berkshire Hathaway family and financially backed by Warren Buffett during that time, which allowed us to still make good business choices despite the kind of economic crisis going on around us. We did a couple of things to improve kind of our business prospects during that time. For example, we introduced the 1/32nd fractional share, which meant you could now buy into an aircraft for only 25 hours of flying per year, and we hadn't offered that before. We also brought pre-owned shares to market. So previously you had to buy a new aircraft, and now you can buy a pre-owned share. So to give you an example of what that means is, in 2008, you might have wanted to buy a 1/16th of a Hawker 400 aircraft, and that would have been a new plane and cost you about $400,000. Now you could come to us and buy a 2008 tail number, for example, for about $200,000. So the investment's a lot less, and that certainly helped our business over that time. I think the other thing that was good for a fractional concept like NetJets, and particularly NetJets in Europe, where there's very few people that do things to the level of safety and service we do, is corporations who owned whole aircraft. It was a great time to be able to go to your board and say, we're selling our $25 million asset and we're only reinvesting $2 million of that into, say, 200 hours of flying. Or we're going into a smaller aircraft type or a mixture of aircraft types and reducing our capital investment. So that certainly helped. To give you a sense of what happened with our business, in 2009, we ended the year with the same number of customers as we had at the beginning of the year. And for me, that was kind of a good triumph from our sales teams. But we were down about 20% in terms of flying hours. Last year, obviously, the volcano didn't help us in the first quarter too, but we kind of bounced back from that, and we were able to make a modest profit in NetJets Europe last year, in the thick of the crisis, which is good. We're definitely optimistic about the future, though. It's going to be another tough year for many businesses in private aviation, and NetJets is one of them too. But we are investing in our future, as you've seen, probably the Bombardier deal, also the Embraer deal with the Phenom 300, and some aircraft from both those deals will be coming online next year. So we're pretty confident about our prospects going forward. Yeah, it's been very interesting actually. I took on the European role about a year ago, so I previously had a very UK-centric view of things, and the UK accounts for about a third of our business. But getting involved in the other regions has really opened my eyes to what's going on. In Germany, for example, last year we had a 400% increase in our business there. This year we announced our tie-up with Lufthansa Private Jet, so we're expecting to see an increase there. And Germany is a great market for private aviation. It's well versed in the sort of time saving and the benefits of flying by business jet, which is great. We're also seeing expansion in North and West Africa. We've got a lot more clients flying to and from Morocco and Casablanca, for example. And we've put a big investment into Russia, working on our infrastructure there, as it's a great export business for us at the moment, in and out of Moscow. And we're expecting countries in Central Europe and the Balkans for our investments start paying off there kind of towards the end of this year and early next as well. So the regions are definitely developing. Certainly, my experience is from the customer perspective. So having the global coming into our fleet is a great thing. We currently operate the G550 and the Falcon 7X, both of which our customers really like. But having an aircraft like the global, with its fantastic cabin and the range capabilities, I think will be great for us. Also, the large cabin and the long-range part of the market has been particularly buoyant even throughout the economic crisis, and we're continuing to see that grow. And obviously, from a business perspective, it's a great segment for us to be in. So having the global to add to our fleet is great. The Phenom 300 as well, I'm particularly excited about. It's going to have great capabilities in terms of airport performance and allow us to get into a few airports that we don't currently cover on the Citation Bravo and the Hawker 400. Particularly for our leisure flyers, some of the airports in the south of France that we don't reach at the moment. And the cabin, as you probably know, having been on board, it's a fantastic cabin, and having the luggage space that most of the light jets don't have going forward. The thing I think from a value perspective, which is great for us and which is a key focus after safety becomes our sort of customer value and obviously our shareholder value as well, is being able to operate that aircraft at a good cost. Its fuel burn rates are fantastic, so I think it'll be a great offering to the marketplace as well. an interesting question, and obviously our whole business is based on a kind of mathematical model, and that's what delivers sort of fractional ownership. So that is something we constantly study and revise. NetJets has much like many of the Berkshire companies, has a 10-year planning process. So we have a pretty good strategic view over the next 10 years, and a big part of that is our fleet planning. So looking at what cabin types we need, which we should cycle out, what sort of age of aircraft we need. So we're very confident in the deals we've done with Bombardier and Embraer, and that we're confident that the market will be able to support that level of orders as well. Yeah, I think if you'd asked me in the midst of last year, I would have said cautiously optimistic, but now I think I can confidently say we're optimistic about the future. I think the fact that Warren Buffett is investing further in both NetJets Inc. and financially backing NetJets Europe, I think is a really good indicator. And quite frankly, whatever Mr. Buffett says and does, I believe in strongly. So I am optimistic about the future.